Welcome to Fortune Cookies Tarot. I'm Annabelle. I'm a tarot practitioner and psychic for over 35 years. In this Two for Tuesday, we are going to be going all the way up, and we're going to be talking to Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip about what to do about the royal family dilemmas of the day. Be right back. Welcome back, you tarot maniacs. So first of all, I want to say Lashana Tova to my friends that are celebrating Rosh Hashanah. We are going to have like a little mini celebration here because we've got a lot going on. I've got sales. We've got Gregtoberfest coming up. We got to pick up baby girl from college because she is not missing Gregtoberfest. And we just got a lot of shuffling around to do, not just the cards. So I hope you guys are going to enjoy what I've got for you today. So we're going to kick this reading off with Queen Elizabeth and what her advice would be for her son, King Charles. So I've got two decks that we're going to be working with today. I've got the Golden Tarot, which is Renaissance paintings. It's really beautiful. I'm going to use that for Queen Elizabeth and the return of the Antique Anatomy because I think that Prince Philip would choose that deck. So I hope you guys are having a fabulous kickoff to your week. I hope everything is going well for you. We are crazy, crazy, crazy over here. Fun stuff. Greg was stuffing some sausage and doing some bananas kind of Gregtoberfest start. He got a new sausage presser. Super fun. I didn't videotape it because I was busy making content for you guys. So $99 sale is going on. As always, I have my WhatsApp and text message readings that are always available to you guys. I am continuing to tag one of Alicia Wicker's videos at the end of my video. Please go over and give her a watch. Give her some watch hours while she's recovering from her health incident. And what else do we have going on? Otter Spirit. As you can see, I am wearing a combination of my intuition and creativity bracelets. So Otter Spirit, I am an ambassador for them. And you can save some money and let them know that I'm doing my job by clicking on the link down below and either getting 20% off with Fortune 20 or 30% off a purchase of $99 or more with Fortune 30. I got two offers for you now. I love this company. It's an intentional jewelry company. They have real genuine crystals and gemstones, and they have a great purpose. They are supporting otters in Monterey Bay. $1 from every purchase goes towards supporting those otters. So if you like otters, if you like raising your vibration with a little bit of sparkliness, get in there and go purchase something and let them know that I sent you. So, all right, guys, we are going to start this off with just the idea of what would Queen Elizabeth advise King Charles right now? What would she say to him? I was a tremendous fan of Queen Elizabeth II. I thought she was amazing, an amazing journey through the most impactful history in memorable times. So let's bring up that card view. Always hit that like button when we get there. And here we go, buttercups. Let's buckle up. So if Queen Elizabeth were here, if she had the luxury of advising her son, what would she have to say? Her presence still looms hugely, I cannot even say largely, hugely over the political landscape of the 20th and 21st century. So we are going to do a little bit of channeling here. So give me just a second just to kind of bring her in and get into that mindset. I absolutely love her sense of humor. I know we didn't really get to see it on full display as commoners. But when channeling her, there is this very fun spirit, and I think it came out mainly around the holidays at Sandringham and over the summers at Balmoral. So first thing we are going to kick this off with is, how would she remind Charles to prioritize duty before self? Now, both of them suffered from cancer. We know that now about the Queen. And we know that now about Charles. How would she advise him? I am still shocked that the Queen met and posed with the interim, probably the shortest prime minister the United Kingdom has ever seen. She met with her just very, very briefly. There's a photo, lovely photo of the Queen. That last photo of the Queen is just so lovely. She does look very frail. She does look very old, but she still looks like she still got it. She still got it. So how would she remind Charles to prioritize duty before self? The Three of Coins, that there are structures in place to support him. And the Eight of Cups is that one must never turn their back on their duty. One must never. It's not an option for her. Under the surface, she would say, you cannot worry about what your legacy will be. You cannot affect that legacy once it is in place. Once you have met your great creator, once you have moved on to the great beyond, you cannot affect it. And those wheels are in motion. So focusing on his legacy now is not something that she would advise. She would say, stop worrying about what people will say about you when you are gone. Worry about what the task is at hand. Do that first. Do that first. Suitcase position, Five of Swords. Conflict, not always the best course, but sometimes having a little friction will result in good things. He can say no. I think we know who we're talking about here. He can say no to some parties. And I think that she would say no to that particular party that we know. Up top, what's up top? The Ace of Cups. What's done is done. Your legacy is here. So what's done is done. Stop trying to rewrite history. You cannot soften the divorce with Diana. You cannot change the recordings that we all heard. We had Squidgy Gate, and then we had Tampon Gate. We cannot change that. He has to work with the information that is at hand and that is out in the general public. He has to do that. So ultimate. Death comes to all. And I do think she will say to him that struggling with the perception now is moot, because once one passes on, the legacy does change and the perception does change, and that people will be more gracious with him and his actions in death. So not to worry about that. Mistakes will be forgiven is basically what she's saying. How would she advise Charles to manage Camilla's role? Just recently, Camilla had a little sob when an older gentleman, serviceman, had relayed some of his cancer journey, and Camilla kind of broke the fourth wall, and the fourth wall of emotion with the royal family, and really allowed some of her emotions to show. So what would the Queen relay? What would Queen Elizabeth relay to Charles about Camilla? in that moment. Six of Cups. We can't mourn the future. And in mourning the future and looking at what the future holds or what the future is going to present, even those things that are inevitable, that are going to happen, we need to seize the day. Carpe diem. We need to seize the day, and we need to live in this moment, not in the moments that may be coming, no matter how fast they are coming. We need to live in the moment. I think that that's a good advice for all of us. Temperance here, the temperance of sweet and sour, of good and evil, of happy and sad. We cannot truly appreciate those moments of exaltation if we have not scraped the depths of depression. So good advice from that lovely, lovely lady. So Charles would like to dust off the perception of him. He would like to dust off the perception. He's shaping up to be a less consequential king than he wanted to be. I think he wanted to bridge the gap between the old style of monarchy and the new style of monarchy, which is upon us. And I think the failure to do that is there has been too much around him that does not focus on progress and moving forward and creating a stronger, more dynamic dynasty for the Windsors. His efforts in environmentalism, farming, organic farming, those kinds of things, all notable. But they're rooted, pardon the pun, in the past and in gardening and something that is very old-fashioned. He's not brought the future into his concepts truly. He's gone backward. So what would she say to him about his rootedness in some old-fashioned ideas now that she's in the great beyond? The High Priestess, sometimes, Ace of Wands, love that. Sometimes we need to ignore the things that make our hearts sing. Sometimes duty goes before want and like and interest. Sometimes duty does that. Three things she would say about correcting that: the Two of Coins, the Knight of Cups, and the Nine of Swords, all in reverse. The Two of Coins, there is a path that he needs to travel down, and that path is a more moderate line, not an extreme, not progress versus tradition. He may not like it, but it will relieve the pressure of conflicting public sentiment. So I hope that made sense, guys. And sometimes when I'm doing this little bit of channeling, it gets a little complicated. So let's talk about her advice for Charles on preparing William at this point. You know we're going to get a little crazy here, guys. So let's start with, how does she feel about how Charles is supporting William? Page of Cups, she is not happy about it. Nine of Wands, the defense is not for the many. Her concern is that Charles is attending to the squeaky wheel. I think we know who we're talking about. Charles is attending to the squeaky wheel rather than attending to the many. What is her fear about that squeaky wheel and focusing on that squeaky wheel? Six of Swords, Three of Cups, and 8 of swords, that we become, that the royal family will depart from the glorious stoicism, the glorious example that they are of traditional family life. And there was, I'll editorialize just for a second. During the reign of the Duke of Windsor's father, there was an effort to return to strong morals and family values, to hide those dalliances on the side that we are so well aware of now in the modern day. Her fear is that the royal family becomes more common if we continue to have, psychotherapy on display. I can't put it any other way, because we've actually seen Harry do psychotherapy sessions with his wife, and tapping and, meditating and crying and whatnot. It's seeing people in their underwear. The book talking about his nether regions, and his brother's nether regions without his permission, has brought an amount, has reduced the exaltation of the royal family, that pinnacle of family life, that pinnacle of behavior. It has reduced it and has made it very, very common. And this is a concern of hers, that if King Charles bows to the demands of Harry and anatomizes, psychotherapy wise, the entire breakdown of the family, that it is going to make the royal family common. You do not want to see this. Our Hollywood icons in the 50s and 60s did this as well. They were well-crafted family life stories. Now, say what you will about that. There were a lot of PR stories out there. They had gay and lesbian actors and actresses married off into traditional families, which I don't think was right. They hid relationships. They covered up pregnancies and marriages and all sorts of things. And it was all in the curation of an image, of a PR image. The royal family needs to live and breathe that. And this is what Queen Elizabeth would like. She does not want to see their stories all over the papers. So I think with Fergie and Andrew and Charles and Diana, a lot of stuff was blown out. Princess Anne, the Princess Royal, famously was married in Scotland to her second husband, and that was to kind of work around the Church of England. And that was something that was a little bit different. And we can even go back to Princess Margaret, who was decidedly unconventional, yet would demand that people call her ma'am darling in some circumstances. She would always let them know that she was the sister of the queen, even in very close casual situations. So very interesting character there. So what does Queen Elizabeth advise Charles to bridge the distance between him and William? We're going to look at Harry too. What does she advise to bridge that distance? Some people are saying there's a little bit of frostiness between the two of them. So what does she advise to bridge the gap between Charles and William? So here's Charles, the lovers. Here's William, all the way over there, the two of coins. So we've got the lovers and the two of coins. So how do we bridge these two boys? 6 of coins. Generosity is over with that 10 of wands. We have 6 of coins, 10 of wands, the 7 of swords in reverse. We have the king of coins there. And then we have the ace of swords. Remember, our swords are great ideas, sparking, cutting away the things that don't work for us. Charles wants to see everyone together. William wants to see separation of the non-players and the actual players. Our lovely Queen Elizabeth II says we can be generous to a certain extent. The 6 of coins is a stable card. 4, 6, 8. Those are very, very stable energies. Be generous. We have done enough because it has become too much. The load is too heavy to bear with this 10 of Wands. With the Wands, I want you to know it is a very volatile, emotional, kind of reactive energy. So this is like we've gone back and forth a bazillion times over this. We can't do it anymore. It is bloody well ridiculous. We've had enough because in this generosity and back and forth responding, being reactive to things, having the other party be reactive. The other party is Meghan and Harry, you know that. Being reactive to that, we've exhausted our emotional energy. We've exhausted our creative thought processes here. We cannot do anything else because those efforts have yielded what? The 7 of Swords. I am going to play a cute little that is my friend Alicia Wicker's Sneaky Snacker. Remember, I am tagging at the end of my videos a link to one of Alicia's videos that you guys can watch while she's recovering. So Sneaky Snacker here, when he's in reverse, this is the Sneaky Snacker has actually shown all of his true self. So we've got it. We know what we're dealing with. We also know that he's skint with that King of Coins. Now we have to stop feeding the pig. We have to stop feeding this drama. And over here, the Ace of Swords, Queen Elizabeth, though Harry was one of her favorite grandchildren, if not her favorite, she is saying his time is done. He has, in effect, betrayed the crown, betrayed her legacy. What a mess. But I think sound advice, you know, you got to get medieval sometimes. So let's talk about emotional indulgence. Because King Charles, despite the fact that the palace has now released a statement that says he will never, ever, ever be back, I have an opinion about that. I'm going to do a little reading on that later today. So you may get a bonus today or you may get it tomorrow. I don't know if that came directly from the king. I think that may have come from another party, perhaps the Waleses. So we'll look at that in another reading. So stick around, keep watching this week, and let's see, how does Queen Elizabeth advise her son about the emotional indulgences regarding his second son? The Tower in reverse, Justice, and the Sun. Let's get, boom, 8 of Coins, 9 of Swords, and the 10 of Swords in reverse. In her infinite wisdom, posthumously advising her son, everything that Harry has done, he has done for himself. Justice will come to those that behave in such a fashion, and this will be a slow burn. This is something that he is going to have to deal with for years to come unless he himself, meaning Harry, takes charge of this. Outcome, he will not work. He will lose faith. The 9 of Swords in this case is a reduction of anxiety, but a replacement of depression, an immobility to get out of his own way, to stop thinking and turning over and over in his mind the mistakes that he made by putting his family on blast. It's really, truly unfortunate. So I do think that Queen Elizabeth says, let this one figure it out. This is like when your kids are learning how to walk and they are holding on to stuff. They have to let go at some point. You can't rip their hands off the end table. You can't rip their hands off the couch. You have to let them let go. This is let Harry learn what he needs to. So Queen Elizabeth, ma'am, what pitfalls will Charles endure if he does not follow this advice? What will happen in the immediate? 1, 2, 3. So, Queen of Coins, he will be generating money, feeding the pig further. I'm telling you, they're skint, guys. They're totally skint over there. Not totally. They have money. I think they've always been cash poor, which really sucks. I hate being cash poor. Cash poor is not fun, but they have always been cash poor. The hermit here is that King Charles is not learning from the past. He's not learning from the things that he's experiences. For some reason, there's this little bit of arrogance where he says, well, it's going to be different for me. It's going to be different because I know better. I am a highly educated person. Blah, 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 blah. I know lots about psychology. I've done analysis myself. But here, this 10 of Swords, it never ends. The application of this psychology that he knows that Harry is exploring is not effective. So it just perpetuates the drama. And that's what Queen Elizabeth says. We continue to feed the problem. It just perpetuates the drama. What will happen to his legacy? What pitfall for King Charles' legacy does his mother, Queen Elizabeth II, advise? The King of Cups, the Ace of Cups, and the Queen of Wands. He will be seen much like Nicholas II, the last Tsar of Russia. He will be seen as an emotional family man. His emotions were in the right place, but the application of those emotions was poorly placed. With that Ace of Cups in reverse, sometimes you have to be cruel to be kind. Tough love is a real thing. I know it's been debunked, and a lot of people were practicing that with their children in the 80s, but tough love has been debunked. There has to be a balance, a blend of love and discipline. And his legacy will be that of a man who did not take action. This is the warning from the late, great Queen Elizabeth. So we are just about done with our Queen Elizabeth, but we'll do more channelings with her in the future. Why not? Why wouldn't we? She was lovely and an amazing person. So I think she is pressing Charles from the beyond to take action against Harry, to divest him of any inclusion in the family. He has been too disruptive at this point. Too many chances have been given, and he has acted amok and acted terribly toward his family, his brother, and specifically toward the legacy of the Windsor royal line. Windsor Mountbatten royal line. Is that what we're going to call it? That's what we'll call it. So, call to action. Let me know what you guys think. She was very hands-on with William. Do you think that Queen Elizabeth failed to be as hands-on with King Charles? As her own heir, perhaps she left too many courtiers in charge of his education. Famously, she was somewhat offstandish with him. There was an incident where he was either 3 or 4, and she returned and she gave him a handshake in public. And perhaps she needed to educate him herself rather than enlisting courtiers and educators to guide him through. I've said time and time again that I do think that King Charles is much more the greatest generation minded rather than baby boomer minded, and he is part of the baby boomer generation. So perhaps there was a little bit of disconnect in bringing him into a more progressive future. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you'll stick around because we're going to be talking to Prince Philip. I hope he's a little flirty with me. I'm just going to say that. But in the meantime, I do want to remind you, Otter Spirit, go on over there, go check out some of their stuff. They have 6 bracelet bundles that are available at the beginning of every month. So if it's your birthday month, you can go on over there and you can get 30% off with Fortune 30. Or if you just need a little lift, maybe you're having some anxiety, maybe you're not as creative, maybe you're writing that great American novel or a great British novel, and you just need a little boost, you can throw some of these bracelets on and it can help uplift your spirit and help you achieve those goals and destinations for your emotional state. So I love Otter Spirit. I love mixing and matching with them. So great company. Super, super happy with all the things that they've sent over to me. And I want to remind you guys, there is a link down below where you can book your own magical reading with me if you need a little bit of a push up that supernatural hill. You can get the $99 special that I am running for the Halloween and fall holidays, or you can get a WhatsApp or text message reading at a very affordable price. I try to have price points for everybody. And 3 times a week, there's a pay what you can reading that was especially crafted for some of you that are on limited budgets. And we do a half-hour reading and you just pay whatever you can. So I wanted to make my advice available to everybody. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Stick around. I'm going to launch Prince Philip a little bit later. So I will see you in the soon to be future.